US President Donald Trump said on August 9 that he was not ready to make a trade deal with China and had decided that the United States would not do business with Chinese telecoms giant Huawei Technologies for the time being, prompting US stocks to fall sharply. Mr. Trump, speaking to reporters at the White House, also called into question whether another round of scheduled talks would take place in early September. He plans to impose 10% tariffs on a final $300 billion worth of Chinese imports around that time. "We're doing very well with China. We're talking with China. We're not ready to make a deal, but we'll see what happens," Mr. Trump said before departing for fundraisers on Long Island, New York. "China wants to do something, but I'm not ready to do anything yet. 25 years of abuse, I'm not ready so fast, so we'll see how that works out," the president added. Mr. Trump's comments fanned fears on Wall Street that the world's two largest economies were digging in for a longer and costlier trade war, causing major stock indexes to extend losses to more than 1%. Markets looked set to end a punishing week deep in the red that started with a surprise drop in China's yuan currency to below 7 to the dollar, prompting the US Treasury to label Beijing a currency manipulator. Until we get some sort of tangible answers to what the Trump administration is going to do with China, this is going to be an overhang on the market, creating plenty of sharp swings, said Andre Buchholz, managing director at New Wines Capital LLC in Bernardsville, New Jersey. Mr. Trump stood by his currency accusation, saying that the fact that China was subsequently able to stem the yuan slide was proof of manipulation and was offsetting US tariffs on Chinese imports, blunting their impact on American consumers. Mr. Trump's comments dashed hopes that the U.S. Commerce Department would soon approve some licenses for American companies to resume some sales to Huawei. Commerce in May had put the telecom equipment maker on a national security blacklist, effectively banning sales of U.S. technology, software and services to the firm. "We are not going to do business with Huawei," Mr. Trump said, adding that it did not mean that would not change if a trade deal was done with China. "I really made the decision it's much simpler not to do any business with Huawei." In late June, Mr. Trump had agreed with Chinese President Xi Jinping that the United States would ease some U.S. restrictions on Huawei in exchange for increased Chinese purchases of U.S. agricultural commodities while the two countries resumed negotiations to resolve a year-long tariff war. But a two-day meeting in Shanghai at the end of July failed to yield any significant purchases by China nor progress on U.S. demands for changes to intellectual property, technology transfer and subsidy policies, prompting Mr. Trump to announce his next round of tariffs. Ramping up its Independence Day celebration plans after the centre revoked Jammu and Kashmir's special status on August 5, the Bharatiya Janata Party state unit intends to distribute 50,000 Indian flags to its workers to hoist on August 15. "People should know that it's a Jashn celebration," BJP J&K unit president Ravinder Rana told party workers, who had gathered at the office here on Friday as he distributed flags to them. As Mr. Rana and the BJP made preparations for motorcycle rallies and programs on August 15, large parts of Jammu and Kashmir remained under curfew-like conditions for the fifth day. Apprehending tensions, the government had imposed restrictions on movement and communications on Monday. Diary of a Kashmir correspondent, when Jammu and Kashmir's geography became history. For the BJP, however, it was time to celebrate. This time, Independence Day is Jashn-e-Azadi for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. "This is the first time that we are out of the shackles of slavery," said Mr. Rana. With the government revoking provisions under Article 370 of the Constitution, Jammu and Kashmir's constitution and flag have been scrapped. "We will hoist the tricolour in every panchayat and ward. We are distributing flags to all our sarpanchs and workers at different levels as well as school students. We have ordered 25,000 cotton and silk flags each," he said. Flags were being flown in from Delhi to Jammu, Srinagar and Leh. While interacting with a group of sarpanchs and handing over flags to them at the party office, Mr. Rana led those who had gathered through chants of Jahang Hue Balidan Mukherjee, Voh Kashmir Hamara Hai, where Shyama Prasad Mukherjee laid down his life, that Kashmir is ours. Bharatiya Jana Sangh founder S.P. Mukherjee, who had opposed Article 370, had died a detainee of the Sheikh Abdullah government in Kashmir in 1953. President Kovind gives assent to J&K bifurcation, 2 UTs to come into existence on October 31. Asked whether the BJP workers would be allowed to carry out their plans on Independence Day, given the potential for law and order issues, a senior police official said that would be decided later. Meanwhile, the flag of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which has been split into two union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, would be removed from government offices, an official said. At one government office in Jammu, two flags, one of India and the other of J&K, were in place on Wednesday. On Thursday, however, the J&K flag had been replaced with the tricolour. Schools, colleges set to open, Section 144 lifted in Jammu. Schools and colleges in Jammu will reopen on Saturday, 5 days after they were shut in the wake of the government's announcement revoking Jammu and Kashmir's special status and bifurcating the state into two union territories. This was announced by Jammu Deputy Commissioner Sushma Chauhan on Friday. She said Section 144, which imposes restrictions on assembly and movement, had been lifted in Jammu. While some shops opened on Friday and there was vehicular movement, things were not yet back to normal. Mobile internet services remained suspended and concertina wires remained at many checkpoints and crossing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address to the nation on Thursday may not have reached its primary audience in Jammu and Kashmir, which was in blackout. But he did well by speaking out on his decision to revoke its special status, and divide it into two union territories. Considering the secrecy and disinformation that preceded the decision that he rightly characterized as historic, and the triumphalism among his supporters that followed, the address was reassuring. The promises he made will be checked against delivery in the coming months, not only by the people of J&K but also by the rest of India and other countries. In his 37-minute address, Mr. Modi promised restoration of statehood to J&K once normalcy returned, a participatory election, and growth in employment, commerce and opportunities in general for them. The PM urged industrialists to set up shop, and filmmakers to shoot in the valley, and asked people there to integrate with the global community. He even offered a catalogue of products and services that could make the state attractive in the global market. While these are desirable objectives, the PM could start with what is exclusively within his powers to effect, to call for fresh election and restore statehood at the earliest. While an elected government itself will be a sign of improvement in the situation, it will also make normalcy more organic. Revocation of statehood was unjustified in the first place, and its restoration must be immediate. What actually triggered separatism and terrorism in J&K, whether the special status and autonomy it was granted by the constitution, or the gradual erosion of these concepts over decades, is a difficult question, but the BJP has always claimed to have known the answer. The PM reiterated that position, stating that Articles 370 and 35A gave only separatism, nepotism and corruption to the people of J&K. Additionally, he also said these were hurdles in the region's development, and now that these are removed, an era of development and progress could be ushered in. While the charges of corruption and nepotism are true to an extent, there is no reason to suggest that J&K has been any worse than other states in this respect. The implied reductionism in the address that political aspirations may be a price worth paying for material progress may not be a democratic path to progress. No other formation in India is more vociferous than the BJP on questions of culture, heritage and faith. National integration is essential for peace, stability and progress, and uniform development across regions, but this is not synonymous with an enforced cultural homogeneity. J&K needs a representative government and full statehood urgently for normalcy and integration with the Indian Union.